Hello and welcome to part 82. In this video, we will understand what are the advantages and disadvantages of using multithreading. So the first advantage is using multithreading, we can create a more responsive user interface. If you remember from the code that we have created in the last video, we had two methods, timer1 and timer2. If I call the methods without using the multi-threading, that time timer 1 was running and we have to wait timer 1 to complete its execution, and then only we were able to start the timer 2. It means we were blocking the timer 2 to run. That is not a very responsive application. That's why we have created threads here and executed these individual methods on individual threads, and this made our application more responsive. Using multi-threading, we can make efficient use of processor time while waiting for input-output operations to complete. Let's suppose in your program, you are downloading a file, and downloading a file will take around 10 seconds to complete. And meanwhile, you want to take some inputs from the user also. In this case, if you are not using multi-threading, the process will be blocked, and until the download is completed, your user will be waiting. Right? So let's go to Visual Studio and try to replicate this scenario. Let's create a method. Let's say downloading file will take 10 seconds. So let me add a delay of 10 seconds here. Right? And once download is completed, I want to print a message. Download is completed. Okay. Now in my main method, let's remove this piece of code. And I need to make my method static so that I can call it from my static main method. And after that, I am printing a message. So what I have done here, I have called my download file method and I have sent a message to the user. Thank you for downloading. Please provide your email address for our newsletter. Right? And after that, I will ask the user the email address using console.readline. Let's see how this program will run when we are not using threads. Currently my program is running and you can see it is waiting here and it is waiting for download to complete. It will wait for 10 seconds, then it will say download is completed. And now we are getting the message, thank you for downloading. Please provide your email address for our newsletters. Then I can provide some email address. And then our program will complete it, right? Now, we want to remove this wait. We don't want to keep the user waiting till the download is completed. We can just give them this message, thank you for downloading and please provide the email address, right? And once the file is downloaded, they can see the message download is completed and they can access the file. To achieve this functionality, we need to use threads. Okay, so let's create a thread. And I will pass my download file method to my thread 1 because this is a time consuming process and we don't want to keep the user waiting for it to complete. So what we can do, we can execute this download file on a different thread so that this code can be invoked without any delay. Let's do one thing. Let's put a download started message also here. Download has started. Okay. Now you can see here we are seeing the message, this one first, and then we are seeing download has started. That is happening because it is taking some time to start this thread. That's why first we got this message, thank you for downloading, and then we saw download has started. So let's do one thing, put a delay here so that we will allow our thread to start. Okay. So let's wait for 2 seconds. so that after invoking thread.start, I'm giving some time for my thread to start running this, and then only we will give this message, thank you for downloading. Let's rerun this program. Now if you notice, we are getting download has started. Now we are sending the message, thank you for downloading, please provide your email address. So I can provide some address and hit enter. Now our main thread is completed and our download is also completed. So in this way, multi-threading will make our application more responsive. And the third point is to split large CPU heavy tasks to be processed simultaneously on a machine that has multiple CPU cores. So let's suppose you have 4 CPU cores in your system, means you have 4 processors, and you are downloading 4 files, right? And if you're using a single threaded application, all 4 files will be downloaded by one core, meaning one core is responsible to download all 4 files. But using multi-threaded, what we can do, we can create 4 threads and run them in parallel. So this way we can distribute our load to multiple processors. Okay. Let's understand what are the disadvantages of multi-threading. Suppose your machine is having only one processor, and if you use multi-threading there, it can affect the performance negatively because there is an overhead involved with context switching. Let's suppose you have only one processor, right? And you are running 3 threads. Okay, so we need to run 3 threads on one processor. Now what CPU will do? CPU will do context switching. First it will run this thread for some time, then it will switch to next thread, then it will switch to next thread, and then again back to the first thread. So this context switching can take some time, and it is an extra overload when we are working with a single core computer. Second disadvantage is we have to write more code to achieve the same task. If you remember from this code, to complete the same task, we had to write these many line of code, right? We had to create a new thread, then start it. So basically we have to write more code to achieve the same task in case of multi-threading. Multi-threaded applications are difficult to write, understand, debug, and maintain. So it is very difficult to debug when you are working with multi-threading applications because you will never know which variable is changed by which thread. And guys, only use multi-threading when the advantages of doing so outweigh the disadvantages. Else, please stick to the single-threaded application. That's it for this video, guys. In the next video, we will understand how we can pass parameter when calling threads. Currently, if you see here, when I'm calling download file, because my method is not taking any parameter, I can just pass it without any parameter. But what will happen when my method will need some parameter to execute? How we can run those kind of methods, we will see that in next video.